So I've been putting the self-leveler down, me and Ken. Big help Ken, thanks again. Done the mixing for us while I poured. Yeah. So it's worked a treat. I marked on the floor, obviously I had my laser on, marked on the floor the low spots and where it stayed relatively high or level. So all this part here, although it was slightly high, is all level. So all the rest of this floor now is all at the same level, including that part. Ready for tiling, which will be the next task. Still determining whether to self-level in here. There's no real requirement, I don't think so. Yeah, I think that'll just get tiled. This was the main part. Right, happy days. Dilly dilly. Well, good morning. Tiling day. So I've already done the first two cuts on two tiles to go around. So I've got my 2mm gap with my spacers. So that is the difficult bit done, working out where your first tile or tiles are going to go. So I'm happy with the positioning of them. I'll just continue now to do all the dry cuts all the way down and possibly down that side as well. And then I'll mix some adhesive up and get them put in place, and then I can start working my way out with full tiles. So I'll get the cuts done first, and then that way I'm not allowing the tile adhesive to go off while I'm doing other cuts. Right, crack on with that. Dilly dilly. So just also to mention on doing my lines. So when I positioned my first tile and marked it out and had the laser line on, it does actually drift to the end of the island here. It will go out about 1 centimetre more than this end. Now ideally I would have preferred to have had this a nice straight line with this being the centrepiece. However, I am going to have chairs underneath, so don't think it's going to be that noticeable. And the reason I'm not going to bring it in line with the island is because it's such a long run, and all these are getting joined together, you know, as is. They're not staggered, so you're going to have a line of tiles all the way up right through to the end. And when I put my laser line on, I've had to measure the distance from the corner of this bifold and this bifold out to basically the laser line to get that as best I could spot on. So what that means is everything this way and that way is going to be nice and square. That line is going to be nice and square all the way through, bar 1 centimetre at that end, as I say. Yeah, but ultimately it's just going to make this part, this bigger space here, look right. Certainly when we come up to this wall, with it being such a long run. But anyway, I'm more than happy with this, getting this end as straight as I can with it being the longest room. Then that one is ultimately where I'm saying. And as I said, the main focal point in here is that, but I will have the chairs underneath that'll kind of take your eye off the potential of that sloping away by 1 centimetre. It's not a lot, but you know yourself, when you're looking down a straight line to another straight line, you can tell that it goes off. So I'm hoping it doesn't look too bad, because them tiles are cut now. That's where they're going to go, and I'm going to continue with that. Okay, so here's the cutting station. So I've got me old cabinets here. Put 3 planks of wood on, as well as the shelves. Again, just to make it nice and flat. I don't want any ridges because the tile might break. So as flat as I can. I did have some underlay there, Mexican carpet fitter. I was going to cut a bit out and put on there as well as a soft surface, but I'll just end up cutting it up, etc. So I'm okay with this flat surface. That's fine. I've got my straight edge, I've got my clamps. I've got my water, so I do put a trickle feed of water on just to keep the blade cool, which will give it a bit longevity. Yeah, £40 a blade, so hopefully that blade will cut, do the whole job, and if it does, then it's been worth 40 quid. Right, that's the cutting station. You'll crack on cutting some more tiles, dilly-dilly. Well, let's see if that cut is correct. I haven't tested this, so you'll see it first hand. I'm hoping. Oh, I mean, that is bob on. Time to get my spaces in. 2 mil. I mean, that is phenomenal for a first cut, if I do say so myself. Yeah, I might not be as lucky with all the rest, but who knows. I mean, that is, that's phenomenal. Get in. Dilly. Okay, so as you can see, I am getting there with this island tiling. Also, what I want to show you is these T-spins from Tilerite. So these are obviously to help you get your tiles level with each other, rather than just using a level or a piece of wood or whatever to get them flush. Which, to be fair, with large tiles is a lot easier. So you probably don't need to go through the rigmarole or expense of using these. However, for a professional job, because I ain't a professional, I thought it's worth getting them. The good thing about these ones is they are reusable. And trust I haven't opened it first, so 2 seconds. Okay, so they simply, you can see the design of them. So they've got the little T-piece on the bottom there, and they screw in similar to the, the spin-ons that I used when I done the outside patio. However, these are, as I say, reusable. Yeah, see if I can find a gap on one. So yeah, obviously you twist it all the way up, so you put them in. You still use your spacers on these ones. The disposable ones, they've obviously got a 2 mil, so it's basically acting as a spacer as well as a leveler. However, these are just a leveler, so you do need to put your spacers in as well, because they're just really thin. So you just pop that in. Once you've put your tile onto your putty or your tile adhesive, and then it's just a case of simply screwing down on this. Keep that top bit, pointing down the side of the profile, because that's where it's mirrored on the bottom for the T-piece, so you know it's catching the bottom of the tile. And then that's it. You just simply tighten it up, and that is them locked together, and that makes sure that your tiles are bang on level with each other, and you don't have the slightest of lips. If you do have a slight lip, you've got the chance of damaging the profile of the tile and chipping it. And obviously, it's not going to look that great, although it would be hard to tell if you were marginally out. But yeah, it just makes it 100%, and why not, especially when they're reusable. So I just wanted to introduce you to them, and that's the system I'll be using when I get to the point of starting to lay these tiles permanently. Dilly. Right, in a good position. So I've done all the worst cuts. I'm basically in a position now where I can mix some tile adhesive and get this all bonded in. The good thing now, because I've done all the cuts, I've done all these as well. They're leaning up there. Yeah, because I've done all the cuts around here, that means any tile adhesive I have left, if I overmix, it's just simply a case of putting full tiles down. I've got any amount I can put on there. There's 2 rows of full tiles that'll go on there. So I'll definitely have enough to use all of the mix, so I'm not going to waste any. Yeah, I don't have to stop and do any cuts or anything, so that's great. I can start mixing now and start laying some tiles. Dilly. Okay, so I'm nearly ready to start at last. So I've got one bag of tile adhesive. I'm just doing one bag for now to see how far it goes, and I've got some little learnings to do later, so I'll see how far I get. I've got a bucket that I'm going to fill full of water, just so for cleaning. Put the new mixer on that I bought, so I'll use that for this rather than the plaster mixer. I've got my bucket. I've got an 8mm castle trowel, which is going to put the bed on. I've got my rubber mallet, non-marking white, just for tamping down if I need to. I've got a heavily diluted PVA spray bottle. I've got my tile leveling system. I've sprayed PVA down already all the way around, as you can see. Just to give it a bonding surface, if you like. You don't have to do that, but it was recommended by Scott the Plasterer, so happy days. Thought I would continue and do that. I've got some spacers as well. Packs here, I've got some half spacers what I've been using as well, so with already the lugs snapped off for when you're going up against walls, etc. Yeah, that'll be for when I do the what do you call it? Go on, tell us. Oh man. Anyway, can't remember. Grout. That's what it is. Grout. Another bag of that. And also I've got some spag ball. Right, I'm gonna eat that and crack on. Dilly. Oh well, I'm done for the night. It's not as easy as I thought. You'd think you'd just put it down. You know, put the castellations in, put the tile on, put the spacers in, put the self-levelers on, and that'll be it. But at the end, it's just such a chore one, man. However, I'm happy with what I've done so far. I've kind of know more what I'm doing now, so it's like anything. Once you get started, it does take a little bit to get into it. Like, yeah, so not as far as I would have liked. However, everything's down. It's how I want it. Everything's cleaned off, as you can see. It's pretty much set now. It's ready to walk on. I've cleaned all the tools up. So it's a fresh start tomorrow. And hopefully I'll make some, well, I will make some big progress tomorrow. Great stuff. Right. Good night. Dilly. Right, hello. No videos for a while because I've been busy doing tiling. So as we can see, all the tiling's complete. Still got all the plinth boards to put on. Again, I've got plinth boards to do with skirting boards, so it continues the theme in this area. So once I get the plinth boards cut down to size, I'll get these cut to the same size, and then I can get them put on as skirting boards. You'll see I've been putting the glass sliding door on, putting that into place. It is slightly off, so I do need to move the bracket a bit slightly. I need to make it a little bit higher on that side. Other than that, it's working fine. So what I aim to do is, I do have a little bit of to take off here, trim off about a couple of, well, about 4 inches maybe. So what I'll do is I'll cut it off this end, which will allow me to move that bar down, which will then give us new holes to be able to drill, fresh holes, so I can get that exactly as I need it. But as a first test fit, it was fine. It works well. Yeah, it's nice and easy to open. Just glides along on some little bogey wheels on the top. We've got a little guide at the bottom here as well, so I'll have to secure that into place once I'm sorted. See, it only gives us about probably about a 15mm gap between the wall and the door itself, the door runner. That's 20mm skirting board, so clearly I'm not going to put that on. I could, but it just means the door would be like pushed slightly out, which I don't think it'd be great. I do want the door to be like vertical level, you know, so to that end what I plan on doing is just use some floor tile. So once I've got the height of these, which was determined by whatever the height the plinth boards are going to be, I'll cut floor tiles the same height and just put floor tiles across that bit just to finish that edge off. Obviously I'll match it at the joins. Yeah, and I think that'll be fine. And again, I'll put a little bit of tile on here as well, and then continue with the plinth board across that run. So yeah, a little bit of tile there, tile across there, and I think that'll be absolutely fine. Right, that's it. I'll take this off now, get painting, and I can put it back on. Dilly dilly. Right, so another thought I've had, because I'm bonding the plinth boards onto the wall rather than a mechanical fixing, I plug and screw, because these are covered with whatever covering it is, so it's not as if I can fill it, sand it and paint it, because it's got a finished surface, so it's going to get bonded on. So to that end, I need to be able to put pressure up against it all the way across when I put the bond on until it sets, which would be quite difficult unless I spanned long bits of wood. So what I'm planning on doing is leave the grouting until last, because this grouting is giving me 2mm of an anchor point. So I could basically get a piece of wood with sort of flat nails through that'll slot into this 2mm gap, and then I've got the edge of the wood then to then push up against, you know, basically cut other noggins just to wedge in slightly. It doesn't have to be in mega, it's just to hold it and apply that forward pressure to the face of the wall. So yeah, please, I've thought about that now, otherwise I'd have put the grout in there and I'd have lost the opportunity to do that. So yeah, quite happy with that. Yeah, that was all I wanted to share. The other thing was I was contemplating, because I'm doing tiles across there and a little bit there, I thought, well, why don't I do tiles all the way across there? And then I thought, well, why don't I just do the whole thing in tiles? However, I think it'll be a bit too much, and it might look a bit like, you know, when you're in Spain in your apartment, because they have the similar thing where they tile half the wall or a bit of the wall. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I don't know, I'm in two minds really, but I think I'm swaying towards just do the tiling on there, a little bit of tile on there where it goes across that wall, and then do the rest in this plinth board. I bought the plinth board now as well, so you know I might as well use it. And I think it does break it up with the colour. So yeah, on that basis, I'll stick with that. But anyway, that was just a little bit of an update there, dilly. Right then, so the tiles are in place. As I said before, I'm putting tiles here rather than plinth, so the door, the glass door, doesn't protrude as much as it needs to. I've put the guide in place, which I tested when I had the door in situ, so that's in the correct position. That's took about an hour and a half to drill through tiles. Didn't have the right drill bits for a start. Thanks to Ken, sorted us out. Anyway, eventually managed to get through and get that put in situ, which allowed me then to bond these on. I've then put the cork on across the top to fill the small deviations. So that's now drying nicely and ready to paint. I've also put the little bit on there as well, that's bonded in place. And again, I've put the caulking around it, ready for paint. So that's only that little bit that was required for there, because that's as much as the door protrudes. I've got it to stop exactly a couple of mil before it hits this pipe. So the rest of that will be the blue board, which needs cutting down to 11 centimeters and bonding on. That won't be done today, by the way. Neither will any of the rest of the bonding on, because they do have to be cut down, as I say. My focus now is to get painting. At the very least, I just want to get this wall painted. It's going to have 2 coats. It's 2 hours between coats. So that means I'll be able to get this on 2 coats, dry, and get the door fitted. To be honest, the door can get fitted as soon as I've painted, because I don't need to let it dry, to be honest, not as such, because you don't see any of that. Well, you do see a little bit, but there's a cover that goes over the top. Anyway, blah blah, I'll get this painted, 2 coats, get the door on, and then I'm another step forward, ready for grouting then. Grouting will be next weekend, because obviously I had to do them bits. I'm contemplating doing that little bit as well, tile rather than the board, but I don't know, I'm undecided yet. Right, that's it for now. Dilly dilly.